Hi, how you doing? Hope the COVID lockdown has actually allowed you to get an awful lot of things done that you should have done years ago, and you're ready for hopefully the summer ahead, etc., etc. Anyway, what I'm bringing to you is the progress on the local plan, because though a lot of people asked that planning applications, etc., should have been paused through the lockdown, in that people can't talk to each other or get around. That wasn't accepted either by local government or whatever. So we've had some very significant planning applications, I was going to say push through, but Sizewell C, which you may or may not support, that is now actually progressing to the next stage, and we will wait and see what happens. Now, the key thing for us living here on the peninsula, and how it will affect folks living in the Walton area, is the East Suffolk Council Suffolk Coastal Local Plan, the second local plan, and it was the decisions that have been made by the inspector, Philip Lewis, as a result of all the public hearings that we had at the back end of last year. And many of you are aware that one of the most controversial areas was the actual usage of the land at Innocence Farm to become a logistics park, and the inspector actually, I think you could effectively say, knocked that on the head. Primarily, in his estimation, access to it for road, which would be necessary, and rail, which was an option, hadn't been thought through, hadn't been decided how that may happen, etc., etc., etc. So I think on those grounds he actually caused it to be removed from the local plan in its entirety. Then he's brought forward to the council a schedule of proposed main modifications, which is this document, a schedule of proposed additional modifications, this thinner document, and then the schedule of the maps that accompany that, which is this document. Now, all of these documents, if you are so minded, are available to you from East Suffolk Council, and young Bernard will put this on the website so you can find out who to contact and what to do. Now, you have until the 10th of July, it's a Friday, it'll be at 5 p.m, to actually get any responses you have or any concerns that you have about this particular new local plan. Now, the thing that concerns me rather is we're just in tentative steps coming out of COVID-19 lockdown. Quite a lot of things are obviously apparent to a lot of us during the course of this. It would appear that open space, etc., housing, physical size, families being very compressed into a very small space really isn't the way that perhaps future generations should look to be living as a result of the planning system that allows this type of building to be taken as the norm. So I really feel that there perhaps should be a pause on this local plan going forward until central government actually comes back and has a really good think about the impact of a further pandemic, which is highly probable to be occurring, we're told, in the future, addressing what the needs of our community may be. There's a lot about providing suitable accommodation for the over 65s, etc. And I'm afraid I think what we could be saying at this juncture already is the care home provision and its support seems to have been pretty appalling, actually. Whether that is that it's too small, too many people in too small a space, not enough space to get out. Certainly true of some of our older schools that corridors are narrow, etc., etc. And if there is to be a degree of separation, the older the building, the more difficult it is that our children will get back to school. So there's a lot of detail in this on what was discussed before COVID-19 hit us. What is really worrying is for this local plan to go ahead without the considerations of what COVID-19 may require in changes to our community and the buildings and the infrastructure, etc., that is of great concern. So enjoy the documents when you get them, and bear in mind you have until the 10th of July to make a response. Thank you very much for your time.